In 1943, Marshall was 8 years old, growing up in Detroit, Michigan, a Jewish boy who was getting beat up and kicked around. And his question at that point was, why do some people lose their compassion and other people, like Anne Frank, for instance, who had to undergo horrible oppression, how could she hold on to her compassion? And that's what ORNCC is in the business of. We're in the business of getting back in touch with our compassion. And Marshall is spearheading that effort. And so I want to present Marshall Rosenberg.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How many of you are joining us for the first time this morning? And how many have never been exposed to nonviolent communication before? Most of you have been exposed. Okay, and here's a question I always hate to ask, but get it over with. How many that were here yesterday went home and ruined good relationships practicing? Just two. Either I'm getting better or the rest of you are chicken to try. Woman came back in Santa Barbara one time, said, I went home and tried it last night and it didn't work. I said, well, let's learn from it. What did you do? She said, I noticed my oldest son did not do some work around the house he said he would do. So I made a clear observation. I said, I see that you didn't do the work that you said you were going to do. I expressed my feeling and needs without criticizing him. I said, I'm disappointed because I have a need to trust that people will do what they say. And I made a clear request. I said, I'd like you to tell me if you'd be willing to go and do it. It sounds like the mechanics of nonviolent communication. What's the problem? She said, he didn't do it. Yeah, and I said, what did you do? And I said, you can't go through life being lazy and irresponsible. I said, I'm glad we have another day. I could see that she didn't remember about empathy, but more than that, I could see that I hadn't made clear the purpose of the process. She still thought that the purpose is to get people to do what you want. So let me start again today by saying how important it is that we be conscious of the intention of the process. It's to create a quality of connection with people that makes it enjoyable for us to contribute to one another's well-being. That's what we're trying to do, create that connection. Yeah, I'll probably repeat it 10 more times today. But the purpose is to create a quality of connection with people that makes it enjoyable for us to contribute to each other's well-being. I'll do you a song about it. A woman wrote a song about that intention, the quality of giving that I'm talking about. I think she says better in this song, that it takes me half a day sometimes to explain. The quality of giving we're trying to introduce with her to support. The song is called Given To. I never feel more given to than when you take from me. When you understand the joy I feel giving to you. And you know my giving isn't done put you in my debt. But because I want to live the love I feel for you, to receive with grace may be the greatest giving. There's no way that I can separate the two. When you give to me, I give you my receiving. And when you take from me, I feel so given to. Notice that kind of giving is not giving to buy love. You're not doing it for the other person. You're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it to escape blame, punishment, guilt. You're not doing it out of duty or obligation. All these horrible things we have been taught to try to motivate people. No, it's natural. It's the thing that we human beings like more than anything else, to contribute to people's well-being. The only time it takes away from the joy is if we hear anybody criticizing us if we don't. We expect that if we don't give people what they want to, we're going to get some criticism. It takes all the joy out of giving. To whatever degree we've ever experienced any punitive actions on the part of the other person, to that degree, it decreases our joy in giving. That's why the poor parents who use any punishment with their children, they don't realize what a cost that is. Every punishment decreases other people's joy in giving. So, our theme this morning is intimate relationships. Is that what you all understand? Good, right? Okay. Let's begin then by practicing how we can give the other person a precious gift, a person we're close to. Now, as that song says, we enjoy giving. So we're going to start by how to give a precious gift to the person you're the closest to. We're going to give them the gift of how they can make life more wonderful for you. Isn't that a wonderful gift when somebody says, hey, you know? And we're going to express this gift with Santa Claus energy. You see, we're going to tell this person a need of ours that isn't getting met in the relationship as well as we would like. And we're going to tell the person that, and we're going to tell them what we want so that our needs would be better met. Now, of course, if we have been educated in a jackal world, we associate our needs with being needy or selfish. So we express our needs with a kick-me energy. Let me show you what I mean by a kick-me energy. Let's say that I have many things on my mind I want to do, but I want my neighbor next door to see if he would stay with the children while I'm doing these tasks. So I go next door to the neighbor and I say, watch this energy. I know how busy you are, and I really hate to be a burden to you, but you see, I've got all of these, I got a doctor's, and I have all these things scheduled, and I really hate to bother you with this, and I know you have so many, but you know, I would really like some help, and would you be willing to sit with the children while I go? Now be honest, don't you want to kick me if you're... And then I see that look in your eyes that you want to kick me. And then this just furthers my belief. See, my needs are a burden. I don't realize that it's not that my needs are a burden, but by my experiencing them as something negative, I ask for what I want in an energy that provokes a circle. I then get a reaction back other than that person's receiving a beautiful gift. Now, after our session this morning, whenever you express your needs, you'll do it with a Santa Claus energy. So you're going to go to the neighbor if you want that, and you knock on the door, the neighbor comes, and you'll say, ho, ho, ho! You lucky neighbor. I'm going to give you an opportunity to do what human beings love to do more than anything in the world. I'm going to give you a chance to contribute to my well-being. Now, don't you feel like a little child at Christmas? Eager to open up the present, don't you really? Okay, so here's going to be the exercise I'm going to suggest we start today. I'm going to suggest that you write down how you would express a need that is not getting met as well as you'd like in the relationship, and how you would express that to the person you're the closest with a Santa Claus image. So after you have written it down, I'll give you a chance to play that role with me, and I'll be the other person receiving this special gift. I'll give you about 3 minutes to write that down. How you would write that, how you would express. Okay, who's got one? Way back there, get that person a microphone, please. Okay. Okay, I'm going to be the person you say it to. Let's hear how it sounds.
One thing I would really like you to do for me that would make my life more wonderful and meet my needs for safety is to lock the gate after each time you're finished with your work.
That's a wish. I didn't hear a request. I heard you wish. See, she ended on a wish. She said, one thing I'd like you to do. That's a wish. But she's talking to me now. She didn't end on a request. So, what's your request of me?
My request is to lock the gate.
That's a wish.
Oh.
That's in the future. You're talking to me right now. So real important to know the difference between a need, a request, and a wish. If I say, I'd like you to go to the movie with me next week, that's a wish. That's what I'd like. It doesn't say what I want from you right now. We assume that that's implicit, that I'd like you to tell me if you want to do that. But don't assume that, because if you don't add I'd like you to tell me you'd be willing, the other person has what I call jackal ears. They're likely to hear that as a demand. Just because you want it, I'm supposed to have to do it. So let's hear what the request would sound like.
Well, I'm wondering if you would be willing to listen to me right now about my needs for safety around the gate not being locked.
Well, did you want me to listen to it, or did you want me to tell you if I'd be willing to lock the gate?
Well, I would like to talk with you about my needs for safety.
Would you like to know whether I want to listen? See, you ended on another wish.
Well,
See, notice the difference between I'd like to and I'd like you to tell me. We're much more likely to get what we want from other people if we end on I'd like you to tell me than I would like. Or if we don't get what we want, we're much more likely to find out why we don't get what we want if you end on I'd like you to tell me rather than I would like. So let's try it again. What would you like from me right now?
I'm lost. Sorry. I would like you to tell me if you would be willing to listen to me right now about my needs for safety.
Do I have to?
No, you don't have to. If you listen to me, I would like you to do
Okay,
it with
okay,
joy.
say it. What do you want to say?
Well,
Now you know I didn't hear a need or a request. Now you know I heard a demand. See, that's how people respond when instead of, even if you say it with a Santa Claus energy, they can still hear a demand. That's how people respond when they hear demand. Either no or okay. You're going to pay either way. So go ahead, what do you want to say?
let's trade roles.
Since it's Mother's Day, I'm willing to do it. Go ahead now, you be the other person.
Oh, good.
I get frustrated when the gate is left open because I have a real need for safety that doesn't get met. Would you be willing to take some time right now and talk with me about this?
Okay.
Uh-oh, this might be the most dangerous jackal of all. Oh, I'm scared now because this might be a jackal that doesn't, when they hear a demand, go, all right. They go like she, okay. Now, why that's the most dangerous one of all. One night when I was living in Texas, 2 a.m. in the morning, my doorbell rings. And I get up, it's a woman on my doorstep, 8 months pregnant, pouring rain out, and she's crying her heart. First thing she says when I open up the door, my husband kicked me out of the house. I said, come in. She's sitting down. She says, we've been married 8 years. Everything I've ever asked him, he goes, yes, dear, yes, I'd be glad to, yes. And tonight, I just asked him for a little thing, and he says, get out! Well, I knew right away what I thought was going on, you see. She was married to a nice jackal. Who, even when they hear a demand, you love someone, you have to take care of them. I said to her, are you my neighbor? No, I live on the other side of town. How did you get here? My mother was in a workshop with you last month and another. And I called her up and said, what should I do? And she said, I should come and talk to you. So I called her husband and asked him to come over. I figured, why should I be up in the middle of the night talking to his wife while he's sleeping? I believe in revenge, you know. And yeah, he was just what I predicted. It was like, yes, dear, okay, yes. But he was doing it out of obligation, feeling that, you know, he wanted to make her happy, feeling he couldn't be loved if he didn't do what the other person wanted. A nice jackal, the most dangerous. So, I don't know though, now I have to decide from the tone of her voice, was that really a true yes? But I'll test it, okay. Now, the first thing I say to you then, now that we're sitting and talking, I'm confused as to what keeps you from locking the gate, because I've told you more than once why it would be important to me, so can you tell me what keeps you from locking the gate?
I forget, I'm in a hurry.
Now I'm starting to guess all the more that he heard a demand. See, because we usually forget those things which we hear as a demand. They're the easiest to forget. I was working with some head nurses in the hospital in Brooklyn. They were very concerned with their staff because a frightening percentage of times they were not doing certain sterilization procedures. And the head nurses said to me, we tell them over and over again they have to do this. They know why this is necessary. I already knew why they didn't do it. Would you want to do anything for somebody who tells you things that way? See? Takes all the joy out of giving if you feel a have to, should, ought, must. So the next day I met with the regular nurses, and I said, it was brought to my attention yesterday that X% of time these procedures are not getting done. Are you aware of that? They said, yes, we're aware of it. And do you understand the purpose of these procedures? Of course. People could die, from infection. Okay. Could you tell me what keeps them from getting done? Now, silence. And finally, a brave nurse speaks up. We forget. We always forget those things which come at us as a demand. They're the easiest things to forget because our heart isn't in it. We only have in mind if we don't do it, the other person will freak out. But that's hardly a good motivation for doing things. So, now I'm going to say a very sensitive message in nonviolent communication. Bullshit. Back when it says forgiveness, I forget. So how do I say bullshit in nonviolent communication? I'm not trusting that that's just what happens if you forget. I'd really like to explore how you feel about my keeping at you about this.
Well, I'm just in a hurry, and I'm doing the best I can. And I've got a lot of things on my mind, and I have to run from here to there, and sometimes it really does just slip my mind, and because I've got my mind on the next thing I have to do.
I'd like you to tell me if you have any annoyance at my nagging at you.
Yeah, it's just kind of irritating because I just don't seem to measure up.
Yeah. So, what would we have to do so you could remember to do it with the joy of a little child feeding a hungry duck? That there was none of this other junk in there about, I'm going to be upset with you if you don't. What would it take for you to do it with the joy of a little child feeding a hungry duck?
I just want to be able to make mistakes sometimes and not have it be a big deal.
You've done it often enough. You should know by now you're So I'm joking, but I want to hear that. I don't want to cover over. So I'm hearing that there's some resentment on your part, wanting more acceptance and less fear of judgment if you don't do everything as I would like.
Yes.
I'm glad we're talking about this. How could I tell you that I'm irritated as hell without you hearing a criticism?
That's hard for me.
But I don't think we can have the intimacy we want unless we can get to that. That's why it's important for me. Until I can express my pain and you receive it as a gift and my request as a request, not a demand, I doubt that we can have the intimacy we want. How do you feel when I tell you
that? I feel sad.
Me too, because I'm afraid of how much we're not sharing. Because we're afraid of it being heard as criticism or demand. So I'm glad we're talking about this now. Okay, any questions, reactions to this dialogue?
I have a question. What if it is a demand?
Then you're nuts. If you make any demands, you've got to be nuts. Because first of all, even if you make a demand, the other person doesn't have to do it. So that's why it's nuts to make demands. Second, if the person does do it, you're going to pay for it. Anytime a person hears a demand, you'll pay for it. So what could be nuttier than making a demand?
So what if it's your partner making the demands? And
If
the
you
partner
don't-
doesn't believe in this?
You don't hear it. You don't hear a demand. You know you don't have to do anything. Just because somebody else says you have to. So you don't hear demand. The more desperately it sounds like an order, you don't hear an order or a demand. You just hear how desperate the person is. They've got some needs that aren't getting met. If you use nonviolent communication, you never hear any criticism or demand. It's not good for you to hear any criticism or demands, and it's deadly for the other person if you hear criticism and demand. When people most need you not to hear criticism and demand is when they're making criticism and demand. Yep. Let's get you a mic.
When you said that forgetting is the result of hearing a demand, I wondered about forgetting things behind or keys or forgetting.
Oh, there can be a lot of things on our mind at times, and we do skip some. I'm talking about something that somebody else asked us to do repeatedly, and we keep forgetting. That's the one I was talking about.
I was hoping I'd figure out why I leave my purse behind all the time.
Because you want somebody else to pay for lunch.
Well, it seems that in our relationship, I'm the great forgetter. This has been going on for a number of years, and actually had a little go around with it yesterday. I'm at the point where anytime I hear anything at all, I immediately hear a demand, even if it's spoken in NVC, and I need to learn how to get past that.
Yeah, let's work on that. You have a disease I call maleitis. I have it too. My partner said to me one time, "You could read demands into a rock." I said, "Only if I love it." Yeah. So let's. So I'm your partner. I'm glad we're talking about this. It's so painful to me when I have two choices with you. I either don't ask for what I want and then I don't get it, or I ask for it and you hear a demand and then it creates stress between us. I'm desperate about that. How do you... You're alive, playing the role poorly? No. So, how do you feel when I tell you this?
How do I feel? Well, if you were better at expressing what it is that you need.
If I was better at what?
If you were better at expressing what it is that you, and I know I'm not using NVC.
No, you don't have to, because I have giraffe ears on now, and when I have giraffe ears, even when you're communicating in your usual obnoxious way, I don't... All I can hear are gifts from Santa Claus.
I don't know what to say.
No, I'm serious. I want to know how I can let you know what my needs are. Seriously, so that it would always feel to you like a gift and never a demand. What could I do to convince you that it is that? Just a gift if you can enjoy giving it.
Not make me pay for it when I don't need them.
So you want me to be able to empathize with the good reasons why you don't do it?
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, that's not easy for me. I'm working on that part of nonviolent communication. Okay, so let's think of the last time you didn't do it. Let me practice seeing if I can empathize with the good reasons why you did it. What's the last thing you didn't do that I freaked out about?
Well, I forgot to tape a television show.
Yeah, okay. So you would have liked me to say, so you had a lot of other things on your mind and that just forgot it.
That might have been nice.
Yeah. Now, if I had done that first, could you have heard this? Boy, I'm just really sad and frustrated because I had so wanted that program. And all I want now is just understanding. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty. I just need some understanding how disappointed I am. If I said that, could you hear that without hearing me playing a guilt trip?
Yeah, that was basically the discussion that we had yesterday.
Yeah. About what was the discussion? Summarize it for me.
Yeah, very much similar.
Similar to
what you just,
it went that way?
Yeah.
Good.
And I realized that, a lot of the time, I don't hear something if it's not important to me. And I made an effort to address the situation by buying some sticky pads. And, if I'm requested to do something, and I can write it down on this sticky pad and stick it on the front door, so I can't get out of the house without seeing it.
Well, I bet that's not a hard thing to solve, but that's all it is, just to remember the thing. The biggest problem is when we hear demand. That's the big problem, because then we'll even go blind seeing the sticky pad on the door. Yeah, down here is the big question.
So what if you don't really want to do it, and you don't even realize you don't want to do it, and then you forget? How do you get in touch, the first step of getting in touch with your feelings and needs in the first place?
By stopping before you say yes, and really looking inside to make sure if you say yes, it's with the joy of a little child feeding a hungry duck. Don't ever agree to anything unless you can do it with the joy of a little child feeding a hungry duck.
And the second part of my question, I'm wondering if I make a request and I feel like I'm pretty, careful with my words and make the request, and I get silence and I don't get an answer, maybe.
If you have giraffe ears on, for those of you who have not been with me before, we use giraffe as a symbol for nonviolent communication. If the other person cannot be silent, because even the silence is a loud screaming message. Even silence is an expression of feelings and needs at that moment. So you hear the feelings and needs being expressed through the silence. Yeah.
Marshall, would you do a silence thing on how you do silence? Thank you.
Some parents heard me on the radio and asked if I would see their 28-year-old daughter who was in a mental hospital. I said, okay, bring her into my office. Well, but she's in a hospital. She hasn't talked for days. She just sits staring at the floor. Yeah, okay, bring her in. Take her out of the hospital? Yeah. It's hard for me to teach a person giraffe when they're in a jackal institution that pretends like there's such a thing as mental illness. Get them out of that environment as soon as you can. They walk in with her, each under her one arm, because she wouldn't have walked in by herself. So now she's sitting in a chair looking at the floor. So very loud message, seems to me, when I said hello and no response. So why don't you practice putting on giraffe ears? What do you think she was feeling? What? Scared? So see, if you have giraffe ears on, you start to sense what the person's feeling. They don't have to say it. I said, are you feeling scared and need some assurance that you'll be safe in here? Now another message. I'm guessing she's so scared even to let me know she's scared. I said that. Is it scary even to let me know you're scared? And I express my feelings and needs. I'm confused at the moment. I'd like some clarity about when you're hearing me or not. If I could just know you're hearing me, I would meet my needs. Would you shake your head if you're hearing me? Another loud message. I'm guessing she's so scared even shaking her head is frightening. So I said that. I'm guessing that even shaking your head is scary. Is that what's going on? Just gives something, just a deep fear. You just need to be with me and be sure that it's safe to be here before you talk. 40 minutes later, I'm really exhausted. I'd like some rest. How about if we get together again tomorrow? Would you be willing to do that? Yeah, if you don't say anything, I'll ask your parents to bring you back. Day 2. Day 3. Day 4. Finally, on day 5, a new message. I was ready for a new message. You talk about the same thing for a while. You'd like to change the topic. Yeah. So this time, her message is still a silent one, but not totally silent, because she turns her face away from me and goes, does this right up toward my nose. So, put your giraffe ears on. What is she feeling? Annoyed? That's what I guessed. So I said, are you feeling annoyed and you just want to be left alone? It's the first time she responds other than a silence. But she keeps doing this. I said, well, I'm really confused and I don't understand this message. Can you help me? Finally, I figured it out. She had a message for me in her hand. But you talk about ambivalence. I had to pry open her fingers. Please help me express what's going on inside. We were communicating these 4 days. She needed that much time to feel that it was safe to be with me. She felt that I understood her fear. So even though she said nothing, I had giraffe ears on it. Very loud message.
Sometimes I'm torn whether to give my partner the space that they need when they're silent and let them know that I'm caring and want to communicate. So that's a conflict that I sometimes feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes take risk instead. Sometimes just giving empathy is not meeting their need for space.
No, notice that after a while I said, I would like to at least know whether you're hearing me. So there was times throughout that 5 days I expressed that I was getting kind of hopeless and would like some connection other than the silence. So yeah, times when I expressed that. But then I got back the message which told me she was still too frightened to respond. Yeah.
Original exercise.
Yeah, let's go back to that original exercise. Talk right into the mic if you hold the mic up like that.
With that Santa Claus feeling of, well, ho, 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 I set aside some time for you to listen to me and to express some interest in what I have to say. This is a great opportunity for you. And ultimately, for my need for feeling understood.
I like that, but he did end on a request. I just heard a wish, but I didn't hear a request.
Would you be willing to?
And get criticized again? That's all you ever do is criticize.
What I have to say is not criticism.
Yeah, that's what you say, but it's a criticism implicit in it.
Well, ho, ho, ho. It isn't going to criticize you if it meets my need.
Now see, I'm out of the role now. Why should I listen? Why should I agree to talk? Because I just gave you 3 chances to empathize with me and you didn't. So this gives me no hope at all that if I talk with you, I'll get understood. I just gave you 3 opportunities to empathize.
Well, I see you are feeling that this is going to be criticism.
No, that's my thought. That's not a feeling.
But these are my feelings that I want you to listen
Oh, you just put your butt in my face.
It was all unintentional.
Let's go over this again, and this time put these ears on here. Why should I talk? You never listen when we do. It's all you. It's all about you. It's all about you.
Well, I can see this is just making you more angry. Should we wait for...
Oh, no. I don't feel any empathy. You said I can see that this is, but I don't feel that you're really with me.
Well, are you feeling angry by my request to be listened to?
Uh-oh. You said, are you being angry by my request? You see, you're going right into the jaws of the jackal. Never connect yourself to the other person's feelings. Never say,
well, are you feeling angry?
Yes, because why?
You tell me.
Because you never listen.
What would you like me to listen
No, hold it. I just gave you a big gift. Receive it. I just told you a need of mine that doesn't get met when we talk.
I will listen.
No. You're jumping to solutions before I've had the empathy I need. Hear my needs. Hear my pain is my need.
I hear your needs.
No, you don't.
You want to be listened to. Is this your need?
Here's what I need back from you. So are you feeling irritated and want to protect yourself from being in a conversation where your needs for understanding don't get met? See, connect just with what's alive in me. Give me a chance to say more if there's more in there. Don't jump right to solutions.
Do you have more feelings around this issue?
No, don't ask that. Just the only question to ask is, are you feeling because you're needing? Get in that rhythm so that all you hear back from other people in a conflict situation, are you feeling because you're needing? And leave the word I and me out of it. Don't connect yourself to other people's pain. You can't cause other people's pain. Their pain doesn't come from you, their pain comes from their needs not being met. That's what they need to hear, have you hear.
Well, ho. Are you feeling because you're needy?
That now, fill in those 2 blanks. What am I feeling and what am I needing? Are you feeling irritated because your need for understanding isn't being met in our relationship, in our communications? Try that. You never listen anyway. Why should we talk?
Are you feeling a need? Are you feeling frustrated?
Yes. Now connect.
Because you need for me to listen?
You need to be listened to. Leave yourself out of the other person's need. If you are not around, I can still get my need for understanding that. There's 6 billion people. So I don't have a need for you to listen. I have a need to be understood. And I would like it from you, but leave aside the strategy. So yeah, that's it. Are you feeling irritated because your need for understanding doesn't get met? Yeah. Okay. Any other question you want to ask about that?
When do we get back to you listening?
If you empathize with that, we're well on our way. We're well on our way. When we hear the reason behind a no, we're well on our way to getting everybody's needs met. If we hear a no as a rejection, as defensiveness, as then we're far from getting our need. A no is a precious message if we translate it into the need that it's trying to express. So here, the reason I didn't want to listen, I was saying no, was an expression of a need to protect myself from the frustration I've had in the past when we've talked and I didn't get my need for understanding that. So if you have giraffe ears on, you will see that. You will then see ways in which we can both get our needs met. No is one of the most important messages to see the beauty in. If you hear the truth behind a no, it'll always be a precious message. But if you hear it as a rejection, misery comes. There is no such thing as rejection in giraffe land. There is no such thing as a person not wanting to or not being willing to. We don't hear those. We hear the need, the good reasons why a person is choosing not to do it. Okay? Yes. Pardon? You don't believe it. You don't believe what?
I just don't believe it. It's just not my experience.
Don't believe what?
If you hear like 100 times a good reason behind a no again and again.
Give me one example where you heard the good reason. Then we'll work on that. What's one time you heard the no?
Well, all that time issue, if I ask my partner or request time, there's always a, I have to, I can't. It just
but my need for autonomy is still not being met. I still don't have the trust that if I don't agree to do what you want, that I will receive unconditional acceptance. Unless a person trusts that if they don't do what you want, they will get unconditional acceptance, they'll hear your request as a demand.
Can life conditions be just the way it just doesn't work?
What do you mean?
Well, one person really never has time and another person always requests.
I'm saying that that's not the issue, not having time. I'm predicting that the issue is the person's hearing a demand. And I'm saying as long as a person hears a demand, they never have time. We never have time to do demand, to fulfill demand. Or if we have the time, we don't have good energy in doing it. We do it, but we'll do it with an energy that people pay for. So,
I just gotta listen to them more.
Okay.
Marshall, talking about the 40 words or less, and you know me, and I love to talk. And Craig is not such a talker, and so this is what I wrote, and I have a specific question about it after I tell you.
Okay.
I'm excited about something I'd love to share with you, and I have a need to connect with you. Would you be willing to listen with me, to me, and have communication about it? And my question is it prudent to say, would you be willing to listen to me for 10 minutes, but what if it takes more than 10 minutes? I mean, should I couch it in a time frame?
If I'm him, can I play his role?
Sure.
Okay. I'd be glad to talk with you if whenever I'm not enjoying your words and I raise my hand, you'd stop. How does that feel?
It feels good.
I do anyway. I stop listening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what if we just bring that out on the table so you know when your words stop nourishing me and start to be a drag?
That's great. It fills my need to know that he heard me, that he would hear me doing that. And it also gives me sweet sorrow because I have such a deep need to connect.
Yeah, then what I'd like
and I ruin it by going,
yeah, and I want to connect with you when you're going on. It's not that I want you to stop, I don't want to connect. I want you to stop because the words aren't helping us connect.
Okay, so when you raise your hand, would you be willing to tell me if you need a break?
No, what I want at that time is I want clarity of what you want from me at this moment. I'm telling you that.
And would you be willing to help me find that?
That I would be willing to do. If when I raise my hand, I'd be willing to guess what you want to help you get it clear. How's that?
Oh, that's wonderful. Yes. So it's not a time frame necessarily, because it may take more than what it's him, or even if it's
I'd
me.
like to tell you when I'm not really with you, and then I'd like to stop you, but stop you for the purpose of helping you get clear what you want from me.
And not to shut me up. That's the big importance difference right there, is that it's his need.
I never want to shut you up. It's when your words are getting us further apart that I want to stop them. Feels good.
It does. Wonderful.
I'm good with other people's partners.
Hi. I need help solving a problem. My husband gives me everything that I need, along with everything I don't need. He does everything for me. And I'm feeling sad because I need connection with him. And I don't feel that he tries to take care of his own needs. He doesn't voice
Say that to me. I'm the husband now. Say it in nonviolent communication.
I am sad because I need connection with you. And I'm worried that your needs aren't being met.
Don't end on a worry, end on a request.
I would like your needs to be met.
That's a wish. What do you want from me right now? The present request helps us live in the now. See, we're not used to that. We're used to living in the past. We talk endlessly about what happened. We're thinking about what's going to happen in the future, but we don't know how to live in the only place that there is to live, in the now. So the request brings us back to now. So
can you help me know what to do to take care of you?
Help is much too vague. What do you want me to do? If I say to my youngest son, I'd like you to help with the dishes, he interprets it as supervise.
How are you feeling?
I don't know.
Are your needs being met?
I guess.
What can I do to make your life more wonderful?
You're making it wonderful.
Okay, I don't know what to do.
Well, how does it feel to be unique? You're the only woman that has a husband like that in the whole world. I hear many people don't trust that. No, this is very frequently. So let me put giraffe ears on this husband. I don't know what I feel, what I need. It's like a new language for me. I'm just not used to that. You know, I'm used to knowing what a husband should do, what a wife should do. When you ask my needs, that's like a whole different world to me. So I need some real understanding of how strange it is to talk that way. Just not used to it. How do you feel when I tell you that?
I feel happy that there's a way that I can try to meet your need by giving you, are you needing time and willingness of me to have compassion with you?
I think the thing I need more than anything else is just see clearly what a big gift it would be to you if I did that. And just the way you said it just before that, just started that. So the more I can really see how it would enlighten your life. Because see, I somehow get the idea that my needs are some kind of weakness. That as a man I should be able to do things on my own and I shouldn't need any help from other people. So to come from that orientation to seeing my needs and feelings as a gift to you, that's a large jump. Is that clear? Could you tell me back what you heard me say so I can see if I made that clear?
that it makes you feel happy that you are meeting a need of mine to help you. Is that correct?
No, that to hear my feelings and needs would be a gift to you. That's like Mars. Because I'm starting from the cultural training. I shouldn't have any needs. If I'm a real man, I don't need anything from anybody. And I certainly don't have any feelings like hurt, frustration, sadness, fear. So to hear that would be a gift to you, that's a big stretch in my development to see that.
So on a daily basis, how do I make sure your needs are being met? Remind you it's a gift?
Before we get to that, I need you to really hear this. So, could you tell me back what you hear? This is important to me that you hear this.
That it is a gift to you that I want your needs to be met.
It's a gift to me. It's shocking to me that it would be a gift to you to hear what my feelings and needs are.
So you're feeling uncomfortable.
It's just a shock. It's in one respect so beautiful, but it's so different than what I've ever learned. I've always learned that man is Sir Galahad. It's my job to meet my wife's needs. So the idea that my needs could be a gift to you, it's like another whole world.
So it feels foreign to you.
Pardon?
It feels foreign to you.
Yeah, thank you. It's beautiful. I love it at one level, but it's kind of scary because it's just so different. So thank you for hearing that. How do you feel when I tell you this?
I feel happy to feel that my need for connection is going to be met.
Wow, I'm going to take this just to hear that what I said was a gift. It's just hard for me to take that in. I'm taking it in now. This will help me to get the courage up to try to express myself more openly.
Thanks.
Marshall Rosenberg.
Our theme today is on couples' relationships, intimacy. I thought I would sing a tender love song that a friend of mine wrote for her husband. It's called I Can Always Count on You. Yes, I know I can always count on you. I can always count on you to come up with something new. Along about the time I think you've done all you can do to me, you find another way to rip my pride away. Yes, I know I can always count on you for some brand new humiliation, some well thought out and novel degradation. You're a festival of pain, and I keep coming back again, 'cause I know I can always count on you. You tromped all around my mind at least 1,000,000 times. I haven't got a dream unspoiled, not an ideal left behind. You say my eyes are getting glazy. Well, Lord, your love has made me crazy. I know I can always count on you for some brand new humiliation, some well thought out and novel degradation. You're a festival of pain, and I keep coming back again, 'cause I know I can always count on you. Isn't that a tender love song? Who else wants to role play with me a little on your situation, where we see how you expressed your question back there?
It's me again, the chronic forgetter. My question is this, and I'll have to give you a little bit of history here before I ask the question. My partner and I have been in a relationship for 10 years, and we've spoken every version of Jackal that there is. I mean, it got to the point where we decided to separate and try a trial separation, and we're trying to learn a new way to communicate so that we can make this relationship work. My question would be, one of my concerns is that our needs are so different that they're not compatible.
Let me first of all suggest to you that needs are never incompatible. You're mixing up needs and requests, and that's probably the problem.
Okay. I guess my question would be is it possible that her need for autonomy and my need for connection are so great that it's just not possible?
No, that's an easy one to work out. As long as the person with the autonomy needs doesn't hear a demand in the other person's need. We all have both of those needs. We have autonomy and we have needs for connection. We have both. The problem can be easily worked out strategy-wise unless either party hears a criticism or a demand. That's what keeps the conflict from being resolved. Not the needs. It's real important to know that needs are never in conflict.
So NVC can be used in every situation. There's not a situation that NVC can't reconcile?
I have never seen it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Now, when I have had couples get their needs clear and looking for strategies for meeting those needs, they have mutually come sometimes to separate. That might be the best strategy for some people, given how they want their needs met. And one couple I helped get a divorce. They invited the families on both sides. It was a very beautiful celebration. But that's usually not the case. And most people, the separation is created because they mix up needs and strategies. They hear demands or they hear criticism. Then the simplest of conflicts then cannot be dealt with. It cannot be resolved. If either party hears a criticism or a demand. I work a lot with couples groups where we just have groups of couples together, and I told the group I was with yesterday how when I work with couples groups, we identify the couple who has had the longest standing conflict that they haven't been able to resolve. And I predict that we'll resolve the conflict within 20 minutes from the point at which each can tell me what the other party's needs are. And I'd say 75% of the time we make it within 20 minutes from the point at which they can each tell me what the other person's needs are, but it could take 2 hours to get that far. Even with my help, because they have enemy images of each other. I asked each side, can you tell me, here's a good example. I was working with a couple in Toronto, Canada, at the point of divorce. And I said, I predict we can resolve this within 20 minutes from the point at which you can both tell me what your needs are. Who was willing to start? The husband looks at the wife and said, you are totally insensitive to my needs. See, I asked him for his needs. And he gives me a diagnosis of his life. That's why conflicts aren't resolved. Enemy images.
What seems to be hard is that, what really seems to be hard is that our history has been that, we speak so much jackal to each other that even though we're trying to do NVC now,
it can be used that way.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know exactly what you mean, but NVC can be used in a job.
It's like there's a raw nerve, and anything at all. What's like having a toothache, and
Okay,
throw a little
let's
sugar
do
on
it. Let's do it. I'm going to play her role. Okay. I'm going to play her role with giraffe ears. Okay, now, I have giraffe ears on. And so you have an easy job. You don't have to worry about how you communicate, because now that I have giraffe ears on, you cannot speak Jack. Everything you say is perfect giraffe. So you don't have to worry about a thing. Yeah. So
I'm getting set up here.
Oh, you have a lucky job. I have giraffe ears, so I'd like to hear what I could do to make life more wonderful for you. That would be a big gift. Could you tell me?
Accept me more for who I am, and be more understanding.
So you have a need for acceptance and understanding.
Yeah.
Can you show me how I could demonstrate that acceptance when you're acting like a jackass?
Am I acting like a jackass?
Now, I got to check something out. See, did you hear any criticism in that?
Sure did.
Then it wasn't giraffe. See, if sometimes I say that to my partner, and she likes it. So, because she hears what's behind it, And so I'm just trying to demonstrate idiomatic giraffe. So we don't think that to speak nonviolent communication, you always have to use a set formula. However, now that I know you didn't like my humor and that sounds, then I wouldn't use it with you. I'd go back to more classical giraffe. So let me erase that and say it this way. How could I show you acceptance when I'm in deep pain in relationship to something you're doing? How could I meet your need for acceptance when I'm in deep pain in relationship to something you're doing?
Well, I don't know that you could.
Well, see, this is my dilemma. I don't know how to express my pain to you without you seeing it as not meeting your need for acceptance. So let's try it. Let me try an area where I'd like you to learn how to enjoy my pain.
Isn't that what I've been doing for the last 10 years?
I would say you were tolerating my pain, but not enjoying it. By enjoying my pain, let me take a break out of the role play here for a moment. I got that phrase, enjoy my pain, from a friend of mine who died 14 years ago. She was dying of a very painful disease. And whenever I would come to her town, San Diego, California, she would call me on the phone and say, Marshall, come on over and play with my pain. And here's what she meant by that. The first time she used it, I was surprised. What the hell do you mean by play with your pain? She said, you know, Marshall, what's the worst thing about this pain is not the physical pain. It's how other people can't deal with it. These good-hearted people, they see me in pain and then they feel they got to fix it. And they try to give me advice as though I'm so stupid I wouldn't have thought of this by now. Or they end up getting in worse shape than I am, and I end up taking care of them. And that's why I call you over, because you're so cold-hearted and psychopathic. And you don't give a rat's ass about anybody but yourself. So you can listen to me, you enjoy my pain. So that's what she meant. She meant, of course, by that I could be with her without taking responsibility for feeling like I had to fix it. I know that she just needed empathy. And And it was precious for her that I could just be with her. And then she says, it's like play, even if it's pain, when you can have this quality of connection. Okay, so now you know what I mean by play with pain. So what I want now, I'm back in the role. I'd like you to be able to play with my pain in the way that Marshall described that. So that instead of you seeing it as not accepting it, it would really be a source of connection. And how could I do that? Like if I'm really in pain about something, how could I express it so it would have that quality of connecting us rather than violating your need for acceptance?
Well, you could tell me that you have a need for me to listen and to understand that I'm in pain.
I see. Yes, I'm sad. I can see that I often have not expressed my pain in a way that would make it clear that what I wanted was for you to enjoy my pain. Yeah, so are you saying that if I said something like this, I see you need understanding right now, but I'm in such pain, it's hard for me to give it to you. And I'd really appreciate it if you could hear my pain right now. Would you be willing to do that?
Well, of course.
So if I could do it that way. Okay, now tell me the criticism I make of you that's the hardest for you to feel acceptance, and I'll see if I can say it a different way. What do I say to you that triggers you the most?
Well, when you tell me, why can't you be more this or that?
Give me one of those. What follows that? Why can't you be more?
Well, why can't you be more open-minded?
Okay. Thank you. That's a helpful one. I'm really sad that I have said it in that way. Let me see if I can say it. I feel scared about whether my need for acceptance can be met unless I agree with you. How would you feel if I said it that way?
Well, that'd be a little bit easier.
You could handle that better if I said it that way.
I would be more open-minded to handling it, yes.
So you're saying when I call you closed-minded, it leads to self-fulfilling prophecy?
Well, yeah, when my ability to be open-minded is questioned, I just close it down even further than that.
I'm really sad that I have expressed my pain to you in the way that I have. I would have really liked to have been more understanding of how it would be received. How do you feel when I tell you that?
Well, I feel more compassionate.
What else have I said? I'd like to practice something else that I said in a way that was not easy for you to see the beauty of. What else have I said? Hard for you to remember, I'm sure, because I'm so loving so much of the time.
Well, I'm going to risk it and throw it out there. I've tried every way that I could think of to get my need for connection met, and a discussion that went round and round for a long time was, I would say, I need more close time, and she would say, you're too needy.
Yeah, I'm so sad I said it that way. I really would have liked to have said it this way. I'm really torn. I see you have a need for closeness, and I have a need for some empathy for my pain before I can be sincerely close with you. I wish I could have said it that way.
Yeah, that would have been much better received, I think.
Yeah, I'm so sad that I didn't know how to say it in terms of my feelings and needs. I can see how that would have been very hard for you to deal with. How am I doing?
Yeah, you need that, then why did you come home?
Check with my partner before you get into something like that. She may want you to see the real truth of what it's like living with her.
Remember, he's male. He's probably got male-itis.
The shift in the quality of the connection is very profound.
But you see what I mean now when I say that all jackal messages are just needs. You see that in the last two examples that I said, you're too needy. It's an expression of my need for some empathy for the pain that keeps me from being able to. So all judgments are beautiful messages if we can see the need they're trying to express.
Can you demonstrate a couple fundamentals about jackal versus giraffe for people who are here for the first time to understand what those terms mean to you?
Okay, a jackal says, I need support this way. You're lazy. A giraffe says, I need support. Would you be willing, I need support in getting the house in order. Would you be willing to pick up the toys in your room? A jackal says, the room is a mess. Clean it up. So they either make a judgment and a demand or a diagnosis. The idea is if you make a diagnosis of somebody, they see what's wrong with them and they will repent, hate themselves enough to change. You see, that's how we have been educated to communicate. So that husband I told you, who said to the wife, you're totally insensitive to my needs. Now, do you predict that made her more sensitive to his needs? See, we have been taught a suicidal language. That when we need something the most, we express it in a way that makes it an enormous challenge for people to enjoy giving it to them. Yeah. Yes.
How do you let go of wanting something to be done? Like I have a need for order and I would like the bathroom to be clean. How do I let go of actually having it to be done so that it's a clean request?
You don't have to ever let go of your needs or requests in nonviolent communication. You have to not be addicted to your request. See, we never give in. It's not a permissiveness. It's not saying we have to tolerate getting our needs met. No. You have to know the difference between the objective of getting the bathroom clean and creating the connection with that person that will allow your needs and theirs to be met in that situation. You see that difference?
Yes.
If I'm the other person, Mom, and I see you having single-mindedness of purpose to get this to be cleaned up, it takes all the joy out of doing it. It threatens my need for autonomy. And then I feel guilty because I think of all you've done for me. And then I not only hear you demanding, but then I tell myself I should. And then I'm in the middle of two shoulds, and then there's no way.
And then I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm still confused about demands and needs. I have an allergy to cats.
Yeah.
And if there's cat hair on my bed, I'll cough and snot.
Yeah, and the more you give me justification, the more I hear a demand.
Right, and it is demand. Let's be really
No, it isn't a demand.
It isn't?
No, there is no such thing as a demand if we have giraffe ears on.
Okay. Well, it's a need.
But if another person has jackal ears on, I wanted you to point out that just that you were explaining would be heard as a demand, because then you sound like a lawyer in court. And so now with all of that fact that you're showing me how damn sick you get, if I don't respond to the cat, now I don't want to remove the cat.
Right, okay.
So
what do I do? Kill the cat? No, there's not a cat. I already killed it. What I need is...
kill the unnecessary explanation.
Okay. Sorry, I thought since you didn't know me, you might need an explanation.
No, I'm talking about in that role. I'll bet you've done the same thing. I'll bet you've said to the person more than they want to hear how sick you get when the cat is in there and so forth and so on.
Right. True.
Yeah.
So here's what I need. I need you to, well, I'll just tell you. I really would like for my partner, I need for my partner to not come to bed wearing clothes covered with cat hair. Because if that happens, I can't sleep.
Yeah.
And
now I'm the partner.
Yeah.
We'll be well on our way to doing that, getting your need met, if you empathize with why I don't do it.
Okay, so I'll make my request and you tell me something.
No, you gotta start before the request. If you want me to hear your request, it would make it much easier to hear it if you begin by empathizing with the good reasons why I've heard you say this 30 times, and I'm still not doing it.
Okay.
This goes for almost anything. For example, I was working with a mother in Switzerland in a workshop, and she wanted to know, how do I get my son to stop smoking? I say, is that your objective? Yes. Then he'll continue to smoke. Oh, I'm supposed to let him kill himself by smoking? If it's your objective, and I told her what I've said a couple times already today, the objective needs to be that this person trusts that your objective is to create a connection with them that will allow everyone's needs to get met. Notice there's no discussion in there about strategies, whether to smoke or not smoke. A connection at the need level. And I said to her, I would suggest you begin the discussion with him by showing him that you see that his smoking is absolutely the most wonderful thing he could be doing. She said, huh? It's killing him. Hold it now. This doesn't mean you have to like it. You show people that you understand what they're doing is the most wonderful thing they could be doing. Through empathic connection with the needs they're trying to meet by doing it. When people can feel that empathic connection, they can better trust that you have no judgment of them for it. Doesn't mean you have to like it, but it means they feel no judgment for it. Anyway, the lunch break came, and she comes back after lunch beaming. She said, oh, thank you, Marshall, for what you said this morning. I just had the most precious connection with my son about his smoking. And to understand how precious it was, you need to know, for the last 2 years, almost every day we've done nothing but fight about his smoking. I said, how did you get home so quick? Because we were up in the mountains. Oh, I called him on the phone. My 12-year-old son answered the phone, and I said, quick, get your brother on the phone. I want to talk to him. He's on the back porch. Now, she then knew he was smoking, because after 2 years of fighting almost every day, at least he had agreed he would smoke not in the house, but on the back porch. So now she knows he's smoking. She said, that's okay, tell him I want to talk to him. So the 15-year-old comes on the phone, and the younger brother told him that mother knows you were smoking. So he's ready for the usual crap. So he says, what do you want? She says, I wanted to talk, I'm on my lunch break, I wanted to talk to you about something I learned about your smoking today in the workshop. What? He's expecting another, statistic about how much lung cancer and so forth. She said, I learned that it was the most wonderful thing you could be doing. I said to her, now that isn't exactly how I meant for you to communicate that. I meant to communicate it by empathy. That communicates the no, she said, I understood that. But I knew this guy, and I felt I could really connect with him by saying that. And I think he would understand that better than through empathy. Well, you know him better than I do. What was his reaction? She said it was profound, especially if you realize how we fought about this for 2 years. First, there was a long pause, and then he said, I'm not so sure about that. So, the most powerful thing you can do when somebody's doing something you don't like, if you really like wearing, coming to bed with 6 cats, did you say, or something? No, you're wearing 7. Is, is start by showing him that his not doing it is the most wonderful thing he could be doing by empathy. So let's start with that.
Honey, I love it when you come to bed. It looks so good on you.
No, that's not exactly what I meant. Start with empathy for what goes on in me that keeps me from doing what you want.
Honey, I know that you love cats, and I really admire the way that all the cats in the neighborhood come to you.
Now, I'm going to share something with you. I hear a butt coming on. Do you predict that?
Not yet.
Not yet. But I'm not feeling any empathy. I'm just waiting for the butt. I don't feel any understanding.
Just wait. It's coming. And I know that it's hard for you to wash your clothes all the time before you come to bed. I know that you get tired of piles of laundry and having to wash clothes and having me always ask you, if you're coming to bed and clean, but that's really getting kind of old. I really understand that. And I'm just wondering if you and I could figure out a way that...
Now see, what you're doing is you're not empathizing. That's fake empathy. See, I could feel from the energy the whole time that you were getting to the solution.
Oh.
You weren't taking time to create the connection. You already looked like you had single-mindedness and purpose to get the damn cat hair out of the bed.
It's true.
And as long as that's your objective, I'm going to hear a demand, because the issue is not that I have to wash the clothes so often. The issue is autonomy. I feel you have single-mindedness and purpose to get me to do this. And not only that, but I think I should, because I don't want you to be sick. And when I'm operating under that demand, there's no joy in doing what you want. Okay. And I need empathy for that, and I'm not getting it.
Okay. When we've discussed this, he's told me that he thinks I have no right to have needs because he's a man and I'm a woman. And this is an issue that we're working on.
Wait a minute. Was he sober when he said that?
Yes, and also very honest. You were talking
well, say it again then. I didn't get it. So he said what? I'm going to put my giraffe ears on and see if I can guess what he was feeling and needing when he said it.
Okay.
See, this is a good example of when you never want to hear what a jackal thinks. It'll make you sick. See, a statement like that, if I heard it correctly, it'll make you sick if you hear what the jackal thinks. But you'll love it if you translate it into what that jackal is feeling and needing when they say it. So let's practice how, if we're on the receiving end of this message, we don't hear what the jackal thinks. We hear the feelings and needs the jackal's trying to express in this distorted way.
What he says
No,
is...
you be him now and say that message.
Okay, all right. Well, my mother never had needs. My dad never let her have needs. And you're not supposed to have needs because you're my woman. And I'm supposed to have all the control. You're not allowed to have needs. I don't like it when you tell me you have needs.
Oh, boy.
And I'm not going to meet them.
Now, do you hear the severe case of male-itis? You see that? This is a severe case of male-itis. So what are the feelings of this person? Fear, fear. Deep fear. Well, behind the rage, you see. Very often, the fear associated with the need for autonomy is hidden behind the judgment, you see, that kind of thinking that a woman shouldn't have these needs and should. So if there's a should in a person's head, they've disconnected themselves from their needs. So the first thing that we need to deal with is the anger coming from the should. So it's probably angry because he has a need for autonomy that isn't getting met. But he's not in touch with the need for autonomy. He's lost in those thoughts. See, the cause of anger is always the same thing. We get angry because we think. We don't get angry because of what other people do. We get angry because we think. We think life-alienated, violence-provocative thoughts. Now, what do I mean by life-alienated? Disconnected from needs. What do I mean by violence-provocative? implicit is the concept of deserve. That if you are this thing I'm judging you as, you deserve to suffer for it. Because you're bad, evil, violent, sick, stupid, whatever. All of that implies you deserve to be penitent. You should be sorry for what you're doing. You should hate yourself for doing this. See, this is the way we've educated ourselves for a long time, about 8,000 years. This is the process of education in our judicial system. It's based on deserve. If you do so much of a crime, you deserve X months in a penitentiary, a place designed to make you penitent. If you do more of it, then you deserve more penitence. Can you think of anything more stupid than that? More violence, provocative than that? Do you feel safe living within such a judicial system? Then why do we keep it going? Let's create a restorative judicial system. Okay, well that's another issue. But I like to sneak that one in every chance I get. Okay.
We should put all the women in there. They deserve it.
In the prison, you mean?
Yes. Women should be in prison
So
because they're uppity.
if I'm hearing you, you really feel a lot of anger and want some respect that you're not receiving in your relationships with them.
Damn right.
Yeah. You really have a strong need for respect that isn't getting met.
Yeah. My woman should just do what I say and not give me any lip.
Yeah. You'd really like respect, and the way you'd like that is if the person, your woman, could do what you would like and do it without question.
Yeah. Yeah, she shouldn't question me. She shouldn't have needs or feelings. I don't want to talk about feelings. I just want to live my life and just be served. Yeah. That's what my dad got. That's what I should get. I'm a man.
You'd like to have somebody who enjoys contributing to your well-being and does things without you having to ask for it.
Right. I don't want to have to think about her well-being. I shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
I'm a man.
Yeah. You want to do what you serve in the way that you've understood you're to serve by doing the work, and you'd like respect in the form of the other person doing the job that you'd like to be done.
Right. So how can I get her to do that?
First, I've got some pain in relationship to what I've been hearing you say, but would you be willing to hear it?
As long as you don't cry or, yeah, just don't ask me to empathize.
I don't want to
I'll
cry.
listen to you.
I don't want to cry. I want to vomit.
Don't make me clean it up.
No, we'll get your wife to do it.
Good.
No, I really am serious. I almost want to vomit when I hear what you're saying. And I want you to hear it. If you hear any criticism, let me know. That's not my intent. I just really want to be honest with you. I almost felt like vomiting when I heard what you said. It made me sick to my stomach. How do you feel when I tell you that?
Criticized.
How could I have told you I felt that without you hearing criticized? If it's the truth, I mean, that's going on in me.
Probably can't.
Yeah, and I hope you can see how painful that is for me. I tried to understand you, and now I want some understanding. You hear criticism.
I'll listen, but I feel inadequate. I know I'm not supposed to be like this, but I am.
So it's not easy. You want me to just to hear how scary it is and how easy it is to hear stuff like I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I feel sad for you in one sense. Because you're mixing up respect with obedience. And then I predict that's going to make life miserable for you and your partner. Can you tell me back what you heard?
Yeah, that if I keep expecting my woman to mind me, that I'm not going to be happy.
Thank you. That's almost what I'm saying. I'm saying I want you to see a difference between respect and obedience. To me, they're the opposite.
Well, I mean, if someone don't mind you, they're not respecting you.
If they don't mind you?
Yeah.
See, that's why I get scared when I hear you talk. If you mix up respect and obedience, I don't think you're ever going to get your need for respect.
Well, what's respect then? I don't know what it is then.
Did you feel respect when I was empathizing with you, when you started to talk, when I was hearing you?
No, I just felt like you were listening. That's not respect, is it?
Well, I define it. That's how I define respect. If I get somebody listens to me and hears me, I feel my need for respect through that empathy. For me, empathy and respect are the same thing. I want people to be able to understand me without thinking they have to obey me for me to get my need for respect. I don't put them in that dilemma where the only way they can, when my need for respect gets met, is if they obey.
Well, I'll think about that, but I don't understand it. Doesn't seem right.
Well, I'm just glad we had this conversation, because if you can get that in a year, I'll be sad. That's what it usually takes me with many people that I work with who come out of certain traditions that have these beliefs. There's a woman's job and a man's job, and that this is the way it should be. It's not an easy shift to make.
Let me break the role for a second and thank you and say that it has taken about 2 years and things are very different, but that's the paradigm we're coming from, and it's really challenging, so thank you for your role play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it, I have a need for a perspective from you. Is it as doable in a relationship to practice nonviolent communication if significant other is not in the know of that particular process?
If you use nonviolent communication, the other person is always doing it.
No, if I use nonviolent communication and the other person doesn't know about nonviolent.
That doesn't matter. They don't have to know about it. If you use nonviolent communication, the person you're speaking with uses it perfectly. Because all you can receive from them is our feelings, needs, and requests. You can't hear anything else. They are speaking perfect nonviolent communication. So we never have to worry about the other person. That takes a big load off our mind. We don't have to worry about how others respond. We just have to worry about one person, ourselves.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you. We have a situation where I think that our needs or feelings are at permanent opposites, and I hope that we can resolve them. Our property is being overgrown with blackberry brambles, particularly in the Northwest. This is a problem. They're very sharp, and they're very aggressive. And for the past 5 years, I've tried to cut them back and take them out.
Let's not get into the story.
Yes.
Let's just get to the communication.
The communication problem is this. I believe that the only way I can meet my need to rid the area of blackberries is to use an herbicide.
So I'm the partner. So let's deal with it again. Now try to use nonviolent communication and communicating.
Okay. It is important to me.
Now already you're in trouble. You use the word "it" to start with.
Okay.
That sounds like a very dogmatic statement.
I feel that I have
now when you get the word "that" after "feel," it's not going to connect us.
I feel frustrated.
Now we're cooking.
I have no control.
No, that's a thought that you have no control. You feel frustrated now once the feeling is on the table with the speed of light connected to your need.
I need to be able to solve a problem in front of me and not feel, okay.
See, every word we use that is not directly related to feelings, needs, and requests decreases the likelihood we're going to get what we want.
I feel that I will.
Okay. That's anything that goes, I feel that, is going to get in the way of you getting your needs met.
I feel
frustrated, and your need is what? Because your need for what is it?
My need is to feel.
No, the need is for what? What is your need?
My need is for empathy, or not to feel safe in acting.
My need is for safety.
I need to feel safe that I can act, that I will still be loved after I act.
I got you. So you need acceptance, unconditional acceptance.
Yes, I need to be accepted and not be hated if I do something.
Leave that out of it. Okay. Just see. Okay. The more words, the less understanding.
Okay.
Okay, and now once the unmet need is on the table with the speed of light to a present request.
Please let me.
No, let me is not doable. Okay. You can do whatever you want to do.
Okay. Do not be angry with me.
Don't say what you don't want. and never put a feeling in the request. Okay. Either to what you do want the person to feel or don't want them to feel. That's not doable.
Okay.
It's got to be a doable request.
Please do not interfere while I spray the plants.
That's a double whammy. You've judged me as interfering, and now I want to defend myself on that. That takes me away from hearing your needs.
Okay.
And you said what you don't want. We say what we do want in nonviolent communication. If you want to say don't want after the do want, fine. I'd like you to do this rather than this. But we never just say the don't want.
Okay. I'd like you to appreciate.
No, not doable.
Okay.
The number one reason we don't get our needs met, we don't express it. We express judgment. If we do express needs, the number two reason we don't get our needs met, we don't make clear requests. Those are the two main reasons we don't get our needs. We don't know how to express the need to begin with. Second, if we do, we forget to put a clear request after. Or we use vague words like appreciate, listen, recognize, know, be real, stuff like that. Okay, what do you want me to do when I'm scared to death that you're destroying the environment? What the hell do you want me to do when I have that fear? And I also would like to protect the kids from it. And the animals. Anybody else?
Get a goat.
I'd like to put the house on the market. It's too expensive to hire other people to do it. It's unpleasant work.
But seriously now, notice how when we get the needs clear, some other options start to come. I'm not saying that's the only one, but you see, once we hear everybody's needs, we start getting into other options that can get everybody's needs. Selling the house is one, getting somebody else into clearing out the things without the disinfectants, organic or herbicides, opening up a blackberry market, whatever. Yes.
Hi, I'm here for my 13-year-old son, and he wants me to talk because he's uncomfortable talking in a large group. And the reason why we're here is because I start yelling at him and he doesn't like it. Yeah. And so he agreed to come to this workshop so we could try to find another way to talk about his homework.
Okay, I'll be here. I'll be here with giraffe ears.
Well, you also have to have teen dementia.
He has to have what?
Teen dementia.
Kind of like myelitis.
That's where you tell them something and then they forget it.
I got you, Mom. Okay, I've got giraffe ears on, Mom. I'll have that key dementia anytime I feel you have single-mindedness of purpose. Can you tell me back what you heard, Mom?
What I heard is that when I'm committed to making sure you pass your classes,
yes,
you're going to ignore me.
Yes.
And this
Or worse.
Well, it hasn't been worse yet, but
I've thought of it.
that's probably true. We've had that
Mom,
conversation.
here's the dilemma for me, Mom. In my head, I know that it's because you love me and care for me. But those are the worst jackals, the ones that dominate you out of love. So when I hear that I'm being forced to do something, and that if I don't do it, my poor mother's going to be in pain, and then she's telling me my whole life is going to be ruined. When doing a simple arithmetic or exercise, or doing some other stuff that I see as meaningless, except for getting grades so I can get to the next step and learn more meaningless stuff and get to the next step. And I don't get all of the empathy I need for how damn aggravating the school is to begin with.
Yeah.
And then I have to deal with you so addicted to my safety and security. You getting it, Mom? Let me check in with my director. How am I doing? So, Mom, how do you feel about what I said?
Well, I understand you're in a difficult position and you're still doing your homework.
Well, then I didn't make it clear, Mom. I need you more to understand that abstraction, a difficult position. I really am serious. I need you to hear the pain I'm in. But I'm already struggling with stuff that I'm required to do for so many hours a day that I really don't see how it serves my life, really. Except that get grades and then you get this, and then, 50 years from now I have a good job. It's all about the future, Mom, and it's like there's no life now. How do you feel when I tell you that much, Mom?
Well, we can make it more immediate.
Mom, I need... already you're going to strategies, you see. Already,
I am. That's my
already
job.
I just feel hopeless about talking with you because it just feels like I'm not ever going to get the understanding I need of why the hell is it so aggravating.
Is it so aggravating? What?
Why I need you to understand. Just let me make it easier for you. I'll break it down into two major parts. Okay. First, so much of what I'm being asked to do in school is frustrating for me because it doesn't meet my need for meaning. I don't see how it's really going to enrich my life. Except as it gets grades, then I'll get up there. But there's nothing that I see really enriching my life in learning the subject. Can you tell me that back, Mom?
That you don't see how it adds value. So the purpose behind.
Thank you. And to do things when there's no intrinsic purpose, it's just all to get rewards so you can get rewards so you can get a job that pays well. It's like drastic. If that's what life is, it's just drastic. So thank you for hearing that, Mom. Now, the second part is when I see you in such pain if I don't. And it feels to me like you have such single-mindedness and purpose. I feel both anger and guilt. Anger because I don't like to have somebody so single-mindedness and purpose trying to get me to do something. And guilt because in my head I know you going out of caring for me. And then I tell myself I shouldn't be this way. Can you tell me that back, Mom?
That, because you know that I've done so much to put you and make this school, etc., possible for you, that then you feel guilty because you're not doing it.
Well, yes, that's close on that. And then my anger when I feel that my autonomy is threatened because you have single-mindedness and purpose. So, thank you for staying with me and hearing that, Mom. How do you feel when I tell you this?
I wish life were different.
That doesn't tell me how you feel. That tells me what you wish.
I guess I'm at a loss because I can't fix that.
So you feel kind of powerless, Mom.
And yet you still have to do it.
Good thing I have giraffe ears on, Mom. Because anytime I hear the word have to or should, you can almost bet I'm not going to do it. I'm going to prove to you, Mom, I don't have to do anything I don't choose to do. And be glad that I'm that way, Mom, because you don't want me to be a nice, dead person. You really think I have to do what authorities tell me? Do you really want that, Mom? To have that word have to in my head? Probably the worst thing that could be in my head, Mom, the thought that I have to do anything. What you mean by that, Mom, is you're scared to death of what might happen if I don't. Say that, Mom, I can see the caring. But when I hear have to and should, it's the last thing I'll do.
I get concerned if you don't learn.
Yeah, I can hear that.
I'm concerned that if you don't learn how to organize and manage things, that that you won't be able to take care of yourself, and if you decide to have a family, take care of them.
Yeah, so I see now that you're really worried for my future about my ability to organize things and get the important things done. Mom, I'm very confident I can organize anything that I see its life-serving purpose, but not when I don't see its purpose. And I really don't see learning this stuff is going to serve life.
So as a parent, the position I feel like I'm being put in is that this is not optional. I mean, so then as my role as a parent, I need to put in strategies in place.
Mom, can I suggest something that would greatly improve our relationship?
I don't know.
Please, Mom, do not dehumanize yourself or me by thinking that you're a parent and I'm your child. That will make it very hard for us to have the connection that's good for both of us. Those are destructive labels, Mom. In our society, that puts you in the role of a cop. And that puts me in the role of a slave, the way those terms are defined. So let's use those terms for shorthand, expressions. We talk to somebody else, I have 3 children. But when we talk to each other, let's not see a parent and a child. Let's have the same quality of connection we would hope we have with anybody that we respect. How do you feel when I tell you that, Mom?
I have a responsibility,
so let me cut through that jackal thinking, Mom, and see if I can hear your feelings. I have a responsibility is vague, abstract jackal thinking, Mom. If I'm hearing you, you're saying you feel scared what I'm saying because you really want to contribute to my well-being in any way you can. Is that what you mean?
What I mean is that it's my job.
No, don't stop. Anything you start with an it, Mom, is going to get us disconnected. Talk about I feel, I need, I request.
I need to be able to look back.
Yeah.
And know that
you contributed to my well-being in every way you could.
No, not that.
And I'm not clear what you're getting at.
That I was able to give you the tools you need to be successful.
So you want to contribute to my having the tools to be successful. This kind of dialogue will give me those tools now. If I need you to make me do things, I have no responsibility. I have no tools. This dialogue is the most powerful way I'll develop those tools. How do you feel when I tell you that?
What I feel is that what I'm hearing is that so I'm to do nothing, and then if
Thank you for telling me that's what you heard, Mom. I can see I didn't make myself clear. Notice I didn't say that isn't what I said. Okay, so that I said thank you for telling me that's what you heard, Mom. I can see I didn't make myself clear. I'm saying that the most helpful thing to help me develop myself, my tools, and so forth, is this dialogue, not you taking responsibility for my actions. You can't control me, Mom.
I I agree, you get to make your own choices.
So
There are
therefore, what can
consequences.
help me most is to benefit from your expertise. You've lived longer, you know things. That will come out more in this kind of dialogue. But if I see you as trying to get me to behave in a certain way, I'll resist even your wisdom. How do you feel when I tell you that, Mom?
How I feel is that this sounds really great in theory.
No, Mom, that doesn't tell me what you feel. That's a thought.
I feel pretty frustrated.
Okay, Mom, that answered my question. And what's your need, Mom, that isn't being met?
Pardon?
What's the need that goes with the frustration?
I need the homework to be completed.
We're back to ground one, Mom. Back to single-mindedness and purpose. As long as that's your objective, Mom, I'll resist it. As long as that's unless I have giraffe ears, then I can just hear how scared you are and how you've got yourself all mixed up over what your responsibilities are as a parent. And then I might be able to figure out whether I want to do it or not. But if I don't have the giraffe ears on and I think you have single-mindedness and purpose to get me to do the homework, it's the last thing I'll do. How do you feel though, Mom, right now?
I feel this is like a 5-year process here. And there isn't a solution that's going
Mom,
to
you
happen
should have
today.
gone to Marshall's training earlier. He would have told you the secret to happiness is not to have children. Go directly to grandchildren. When I went through this with my son, his age, oh, it was painful because I lived in a society that said children have to go to school. And even though everything my son said made sense to me about when he told me how they were teaching him and what they were teaching him, I felt like you did, but you have to. And I had to stop and listen. And we resolved it. He didn't go to school. Now he's a professor of Spanish at the University of California. He didn't go to school. He learned other things during that time. He learned how to speak Spanish because his friends spoke Spanish. He was a professor of Spanish. He didn't learn that in school. Yeah. But we had to go to the judge because, yes, the law did say you have to live until you're 16. So we went before the judge. And as we drove down there, I said, now, if ever you have giraffe ears, make sure you have them on with the judge. Because we don't want to see an enemy image, He's just, here his need is to protect children. He means well. And he feels that it would really help children to have schooling. So I was very pleased with how my son put giraffe ears on and empathized with the judge, although poor Judson I could just see he didn't know what to do because he has 2 categories. Delinquent, you put him in one institution, or emotionally disturbed, you put him in another. Or the parent is somehow screwed up, you put them in jail. So he was just very confused. And finally he said to me, well, okay, if you want to ruin your son's life, that's your business. Yes.
I'm fearful that younger children will not have the patience to hear the giraffe talk.
You have a concern that younger children will not have the patience to hear the giraffe talk.
Right, and that they might just take a shortcut or go through the motions and kind of read it, kind of play it out as a script. So I'm curious is there any shortcuts that they can...
I find that 4-year-olds learn this process much faster than adults, and much deeper at a much deeper level.
I have experienced that too, but some of them are just doing the motions.
Yeah, but I get the same with adults.
True.
So then it's real test in sharing this to make sure that people have the purpose of it in mind. And that's not easy to get across to most people. That's why I keep repeating the purpose is not to get people to do what you want, but to create the quality of connection that everybody's needs get met. That is a radically different story than most of us have been taught. We have been taught there's a right and a wrong way to do everything. The authorities know what's right. If you want to make it in this world, you have to do what the authorities say is right. That's the story we've lived under. So now this is a radical paradigm shift. But I find 4-year-olds get it easier than the adults.
Excuse me, I'd like to jump in here just a second, Marshall.
Where are you? I don't see you.
We did promise people a break, and I am torn by the intense discussion that I'm enjoying very much, and I see that other people are, and the need for people to maybe take a stretch break. So I am wondering, I'm asking all of you if you wish to continue and not have a break at this time until 1 o'clock, or if you would like a break. And I need some kind of show of hands or something to let me know if you would like a break or not. Let me clarify that, please. If you would like to continue, would you please raise your hand so that I can see? All right, that looks pretty darn near unanimous.
Now, here we have an important key differentiation to make. Do we want to function by the tyranny of the majority or consensus? Now, here's how we can arrive at consensus. I've been developing skills with a group this time.
Okay.
I'd like to see a show of hands by any idiot who would not be willing. Seriously, if we say, I'd like to see a show of hands, and then we think that because 51% would be willing, that's what I call the tyranny of the majority. What I like to do is this way. I'd like to see a show of hands by anybody who would not be willing to take a break, and if so, what you would suggest we do for those who would want to take the break. Yes.
I don't want to take a break, and other people who don't want to take a break, could we sit and continue having a dialogue?
So you would hope that those who want to stay could stay. Would that be all right with the people who want to go? Then what would you like, or if you want to take a break, what would you like of those who want to stay?
Short break.
Yeah.
I love your music. The thing that the thing that's most valuable for me is learning about the things where I'm all confused. And like your music is like a warm fuzzy, and I love it. But how about if you played music while people who want to take a break took a break? And there's evidence that people actually get more out of things if they take short breaks. And
So
I'm totally
is anybody uncomfortable with that? A show of hands. Anybody uncomfortable that during the break I do some music? And what makes you not have a good taste about music? I'm striving to get the consensus here. How about that we take a 5-minute break, and I'll start in again in 5 minutes, even if I'm the only one here.
Okay.
During the break, I had a discussion with two different people on a similar theme about how much problem some people have in being able to say what's alive in them, what they're feeling, what their needs are. Just what a paradigm shift that is when you've been... See, I went to schools for 21 years. I cannot recall ever being asked what I was feeling or what I was needing. Not once. I tried it for years now, but can I recall one time when anybody ever asked? The closest that I ever got to that question is I spent a good deal of my schooling in the principal's office. And the closest to that, I heard this, why did you do that? But he wasn't really trying to find out my feelings. Anyway. So what a big chore it is. Well, a woman that came to my training She was not able to express her feelings. She saw how her family was. Oh, was it scary for her to think of expressing feelings? It just wasn't done in her family. When she started to do it, she saw what a different world it was to be in touch with life within herself, and she wrote this song called Good Morning Pain. Good morning, pain. I never thought I'd welcome you again. I never thought I'd long for you and search for you in vain. But when you went away, I walked the desert with no rain. And I'm so glad to have you back again. Good morning, pain. Good morning, tears. I never thought I'd long for you to rise. I never thought I'd miss your misery blurring in my eyes. When you ceased to flow, the springs of joy also went dry. And I'm so glad to hang my head and cry. Good morning, tears. Good morning, love. I had to learn you never come alone. And when I shut out hurting, something in me turns to stone. Be in touch with tenderness, I bear my blood and bone. And I'm so glad to have you back again. Good morning, pain. Good morning, joy. Good morning, love. Yes, way back.
I have a request for assistance with my affliction of mailitis.
Okay, you've come to an expert on it. I have a severe case.
It appears after listening to all of this that thinking my jackal ears were off of my head, they appear to be on. Most of the time I do hear demands coming at me throughout the day with much of my immediate family.
Yeah.
And what I do have desire to change this cycle, but I guess it's the first step that I still need help with. It's that first moment when I hear the demand, and what I do is close the door.
Yeah.
And so I just need help with that first step.
For me, I have to give myself empathy, self-empathy. First, I recognize it by the feelings. I'm usually angry, irritated. So I stop. Anytime I'm angry, I love it because it tells me I'm not connected to life in the way I want to be. So the anger is valuable. It gives me a chance. It's like a wake-up call. Hey, Marshall, you're not alive. See, I used to think that adrenaline in your system, you were really alive. Now I define life different. I define life not more just having some chemical adrenaline in my system. To really be connected to life. What are my needs? What are the needs of the person in front of me? So the anger tells me I'm not there. I'm hearing a demand, or I'm hearing a criticism, or I'm making one. So I just enjoy the jackal show that's going on in my head. So how might that look? So you be the other person. What do you say that I hear as a demand?
Well, I'm going to go back to the gate.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to say, I've told you 100 times to lock
I'm already lost. See, I'm already lost. All I had to do was see that look. I told you. I'm angry. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. You know, here's the jackal show going on in my head. You look like every damn teacher and parent I've had when they were angry right now. And I feel about the same joy in thinking of doing whatever the hell you want me to do right now as I did for them. That's all going on in me, real fast, something like that. So, I just enjoy the jackal show. enjoying the Jackal Show is good for me and it's good for the other person, because then I know it's not them that I'm upset with. That this has nothing to do with that this stimulus, but that's in me. So that's a big step. Then I don't see them making me feel upset. I see the Jackal Show. I take a deep breath and I see the need. See, all Jackal shows are horror movie descriptions of needs. So after I've enjoyed the horror show, I see the beautiful need behind it all. Oh my gosh, I have a desire to do things when I choose to do it and not when I feel forced to do it. Not when I feel the person is going to cut off love if I don't do it. They're going to punish me if I don't do it. Then I can empathize with the other person. So you're feeling kind of desperate of what you need to do to get your needs met. I can see the beauty in their needs now. And I'm much more likely to do it. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that felt different. Felt good.
Now, I told you that my partner once said, you could read demands into a rock. And that came out of our deciding that whenever that was going on inside, she said, would you share that with me? Just share what's going on. And so, and it was good that I did that, because she liked that, to hear that that's all that was going on. Because when that's going on, non-verbally, I give off pretty scary. So it was a pleasure to her to hear that all of that was going on. But after about 3 times in an hour, when I was in my mailitis and hearing a demand, then she said, my God, you could read demand into a rock. And I thought about that, and that's when I said, only if I love the rock. Yeah. You want to get your mic? What? Oh, there's one up there, okay.
I feel my heart pounding in stereo. My partner, I really want for him and my family, for there to be a connection growing between them.
Yeah.
That feels like a need. I think I'm missing something. I'm not separating. I keep getting angry. I make my requests, and
Let me be him. I think we'll get at it quicker.
Okay.
I'll have giraffe ears on. What could I do to make life more wonderful for you? I know it's hard for you to trust that I'm really sincere in asking that question. I really mean it. What could I do to make life more wonderful for you?
I would appreciate your willingness to come over every once in a while and just spend time with my family, with my parents and my sisters.
It would make it easier for me to do that if before you made the request I heard what need of yours would be met. It's the need that makes giving juicy. To hear the request without the need, it's barren at best and a demand at worst.
Integration?
Well, maybe that's, if you could see, all human beings have the same needs. So when we can really use a language that can connect people with our needs, it makes the giving more fun. But if we don't see the need that's being met, if it's just a request, it doesn't make it joyful to give. So integration, I'm not sure exactly.
Okay, well, I'm not sure what's behind. I'm wanting.
Sounds like you really want. I got giraffe ears, so I'll help you. It sounds like you have a need for harmony amongst the people that you care for the most. Am I understanding that?
Yeah, that seems like that fits.
So that's your need. So you really have a need for harmony. That would mean an awful lot to you, and it's very painful when you don't feel that harmony. Am I hearing you correctly?
Mm-hmm.
I got you. So that's why you'd like to know if I'd like to come over and be with you, with your family.
Yeah.
I'll need some empathy first, because I feel very uncomfortable around your family. My need for acceptance doesn't get met when I'm
He said that.
I've said that. And so it's really terrifying for me to be there. How do you feel when I tell you this?
I want that too. I want both sides. I want there to be acceptance.
Yeah, but how do you feel when I tell you how uncomfortable I am because my need for acceptance isn't met?
Sadness.
Yeah. When I see how sad you are and how deeply you want this, I'm quite open now to trying to figure out how to deal with my fears, because I want to contribute to you getting your need met. And I also want harmony with your family. I want to get over my fear of this acceptance. Help me empathize with their criticism of me. Help me put on giraffe ears so that the things that they don't like about me now, I can see the beauty of it. Remind me, how are they judging me?
Well, I don't, without going into too much detail.
No, I don't need to do that. I just need to know what they just remind me of the judgments they make of me. I'm afraid.
I've heard you say you're afraid that you won't ever be forgiven.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I see. They need empathy for their fear of what I did. They're still needing some empathy for that and reassurance that I've learned from that. Is that what you mean? Yeah. And I'm still needing empathy for how painful it is that people see me. They don't forgive me for that. So we both sides need empathy. They need empathy for how scared they are and how much they want to protect you. And I need empathy for what was going on in me when I did that, so people don't see me as something wrong with me. So how do you feel when you see both sides needing so much empathy?
I think overwhelmed.
Yeah. Well, just talking like this has given me some of the empathy I need. And with your help, what I'd like to do is just really hear their fear without seeing myself as a monster.
It's hard for me to believe that.
That I can
really
make that
possible.
empathy. I can.
That we can, that each party, myself.
You want so much for that, and you're kind of worried about whether it could ever happen. If you and I can have this kind of dialogue, I'm confident that I can develop my giraffe ears so that I can hear their fear without taking it personally. How do you feel when I say that?
I feel a willingness to try.
Yeah. And if it's maybe more than we can handle, but maybe we can get a third sider to help us to harmony in the family. Some outside giraffe to come in and help us connect with each other. That's another option. Okay?
I have two items over here too.
Over here.
One is I have a need relating to group harmony, to know that the process with the mother and her children that was interrupted before our break has come to resolution. Has it?
So, and your request is?
My request is to either pick up where we left off or to know
That's
that
a wish.
that's not necessary.
That's a wish. So the request might be to ask the people whether they were finished or not. That might be one possible request for you to ask them.
Thank you very much. Did you guys get finished, completed?
Because what it felt like is it felt like the whole audience was judging me as wrong. And I want to share that I don't appreciate that. And also that this is a process that is, you know, people don't change overnight. So to expect that I should do something differently because that's how you think I should do it is unkind. So that's the feedback I'd like to give.
So, if I'm hearing you correctly, it's very painful when your need for understanding and respect wasn't by the clapping. Is that accurate?
I'm not sure. It's like this is an experience between the two of us, and I happen to open it up. And by doing that, then to be treated that way.
Treated what way? You heard the clapping as disrespectful.
As judgmental.
Yeah, and I would like you to tell me whether you would be open at the moment to hearing it in another way.
I don't think so.
Okay. Because I'm more concerned for you, because my confidence would be that if you heard what was behind the clapping, you would have felt good about it. But if you're not wanting to hear it now, I can understand that. But I did want to leave you with the fact that I do have that belief that if you had heard the feelings and needs of the people, you wouldn't have heard a criticism.
And now I feel like you're diminishing my response.
Yes. How could I have let you know my request, what my needs were, without you interpreting it as my diminishing you? I didn't say I was going to do it. I said I just wanted you to know that that was where I was. So how could I have said that to be understood without you hearing it as I'm diminishing?
Well, and first, to begin with, I would suggest that you weren't one of the people who were clapping. So for you to be saying that is an assumption that you know what these other people are feeling, which is
presumption. I have a guess. I do have an assumption. You have one. You had an assumption, and I had one. Yes.
I feel like it doesn't matter what I say, it's going to be wrong.
And I don't know how I can express my needs without you hearing that you're being criticized. So you're frustrated because you can hear only criticism, and I'm frustrated because I can't get empathy for my needs. I don't know how to tell you what's going on in me without you hearing that you're being diminished, disrespected, judged. So we're both frustrated right now.
Now think about that.
Okay. I'm satisfied with that.
One other thing, I have a need for clarity with respect to anger. When you were having your interaction with the woman with the allergies to cats, it seemed to me that you were referring to anger as being toxic. And since then, you've referred to anger as being a healthy emotion.
It's a healthy emotion because it tells me I'm throwing toxic energy into my spiritual and physical body. Spiritually, because I'm in the world that Rumi suggests is not a fun world to live in. When Rumi says, there's a place beyond right and wrongdoing, I'll meet you there. Anger tells us spiritually I'm in that world of right and wrongdoing. And my body suffers because studies in the medical arena show a high correlation between the thinking that makes us angry and heart disease. So anger is a friend of mine. It tells me that I'm thinking in a way that takes me out of the world I want to live in. And it's also harmful to my body. So anger is not the problem. The thinking is the problem. The thinking that causes anger. See the difference?
I'm here on this side.
I don't see you. You gotta raise your hand high.
Right here. Hi.
Okay.
I need to go back to the issue of when you're saying that if we communicate our needs, there is a joy that comes with that, and
if the
that
other person
connection.
receives it, if the other person receives your needs, you'll see the eyes of a child receiving a present from Santa Claus.
Okay. So my question is, when you're teaching or this, how did you help, especially men? I'm seeing this a lot when I'm helping couples in men, just to accept, to receive the need. And I'm hearing, you have talked a lot about the man's disease. So, any recommendations about how to help receive the need?
How do I deal with men who have trouble hearing needs as a gift?
Yeah.
I empathize with what goes on in them. When they feel the empathy, then they're open to learning how to deal with it differently. But if in any way they hear me judging them, they'll hear another demand.
Because I think what I'm seeing is that there is a lot of there's a generational issue of expecting that their needs are being met, but that they don't have to meet the other people's needs, and you have talked about that too. So.
Not just a generational, but for 10,000 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
many generations. That's exactly.
Yeah. 10,000 years, women should have no needs. Loving women have no needs. They suppress their needs for their families. Brave men have no needs. They're willing to give their life for the king, the flag, the president. So, real mature, loving, good people have no needs. Needs are selfish.
So you're saying that just by practicing empathy, you get there?
I'm saying showing people a more fun way to live, they'll do it. If I empathize first with why it's hard for them to see it. To see the more fun way. And that I do everything I can that I don't in any way imply there's something wrong with them for being like they are. That's why I use a stupid statement like normalize. It's a playful way of saying it. It's painful, but let's not get into thinking there's something wrong with us for feeling that.
Thank you.
Marshall? In the second row.
Second row.
I find myself in a conundrum repeatedly having to do with the way people smell and their personal hygiene at work and in my personal life.
Look, why didn't you tell me this during the break?
I thought this would be a more interesting forum. And I can't for the life of me figure out how to state my feeling, need, and a request where I feel any confidence that I'm going to create some connection with that person. I have managers asking me to go to coworkers to solve this problem because they think I'd be
Come on to me and let's try it. Let's try it.
Okay. I feel uncomfortable when I smell a strong body odor coming from you, and I would like to ask you to bathe and
May I suggest something to you?
Yeah.
With a request like this, let's see two different kinds of requests. See. You're going to what I call the need fulfilling request. What the action, a need fulfilling request. Starts the way you did. I'd like you to tell me. If you would be willing to, and then you say, take a bath, whatever. So this is one kind of request. But I would suggest that we be conscious of perhaps the necessity, before we get to this kind of request, to get to a request that deals with the connection that exists at this moment between ourselves and the other person. See, remember I said nonviolent communication tries to create the quality of connection that allows people to fulfill each other's requests joyfully. But now, is the connection necessary? Is the connection there that will allow this to happen? And if I have some doubts about it, then before I make this request, I might make one of two requests. I'd like you to tell me what you heard me say, so I can see if I made myself clear. Because if the person has heard any criticism, anything they do for me here, I'll pay for it.
Do you find sometimes there are issues, and maybe other people in this room as well, that make it very difficult as a person really wanting to have that compassionate connection to even bring up the dialogue to be able to discuss this?
Well, if it is scary, it's not because we're afraid of the other person. We're afraid of how we will deal with their response. That's important to keep that separation. Because if you think that you're afraid of how the other person might respond, you'll become a nice dead person, afraid to reveal yourself. And you give all of your power to the other person. So we don't have to ever be afraid of how the other person might respond. We only have to be concerned with how we will deal with their response.
I understand.
But that puts our security in our hands. So, one of the two responses is, tell me what you heard me say, so I can see if I made myself clear. And the other, sometimes I might just want the other person to tell me how they feel about what I said. These two show me whether the connection is there to go here. Now, sometimes I'm satisfied with this just from the nonverbal behavior. I don't see eyes like they heard a criticism or a demand. If I see already those eyes, then before I go here, I'll go here. So I would suggest here in this role play we're doing, go here. You see. So now what's your present request? You told me about your discomfort.
I would like to ask you if to bathe and...
No, that's, you're going up here.
So
I'm saying before you go there, check out what the connection is. What you've told me your needs. Now check out whether I heard what you said.
So I've shared with you what my need is, and I'd like to know what you heard me say so I can understand.
Okay, you heard me say I stink. Okay. What the hell else could I hear? You said it. It's very clear. You think I stink.
I see you having a strong emotional reaction to what I said. Do you want to tell me more about what you're feeling?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I stink.
I wonder.
Now, tell me this in giraffe. Say this. Dummy, that isn't what I said. Say that in giraffe now. Dummy, that isn't what I said. That's what your damn jackal ears heard, but that isn't what I said. Say that message in giraffe.
It makes me sad to hear that that's how you received my message. How could I have communicated with you so that you wouldn't have
How
felt
could I have
thing?
made my feelings and needs clear so you wouldn't hear it as a criticism?
How could I have made those feelings and needs clear without having to hear it as a criticism?
What feelings and needs?
The ones you just talked about?
I didn't hear any feelings and needs. You said I stink.
Would you be willing to hear my feeling and need again? Or
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel uncomfortable when I smell strong body odor coming from your body and clothes.
Yeah.
I feel nauseated.
Yeah.
And I would like...
I noticed now I haven't heard a need.
I would
See,
like...
it's the need that keeps the person from hearing. If they can hear the need.
I need to ask you to bathe.
No, that's a strategy. That's a strategy. See, I didn't hear the need. I heard the discomfort.
I need to feel comfortable when I'm around you so that I can enjoy our interaction.
It said the need for comfort that isn't met when you feel that odor. Okay. Now, pull me by the ears to hear that, because that's a difficult message for a jackal-eared person to hear.
Yeah.
It's very hard for them to hear somebody's feelings and needs without hearing a criticism. They've been programmed to hear criticism. So it's not easy. This seems like a simple little thing to hear that without hearing a criticism. But it's a radical paradigm shift. So pull me by the ear, say, could you say that back?
Could you let me know what you heard me say so that I can know if I did a good job communicating?
You're uncomfortable. You did find that odor, you're uncomfortable with the odor. You have a real need to be comfortable when you're around me.
That's exactly right. Thank you for hearing what I said. I'm feeling better about this interaction now. How are you feeling?
I feel a lot of feelings inside of it. If I was a Chad Giraffe ears on, I would say this. I feel sad because I want to contribute to your comfort around me in every way. I'm also feeling annoyed at myself because I want to take better care of myself and do things like that, but I have this thought in my mind that I should take a bath more often, and then when I think that, I don't want to. And, so I got a lot going on in me, but I'm glad we're talking about it.
It sounds like you have a lot of good reasons to smell the way you smell. And I'm glad to see you laughing because that didn't come across. I didn't say it with my hand. I wish I said that differently. Maybe you can help me with that, but I feel satisfied in this moment. Thank you.
I'd like to go back to the thing we were doing in the beginning.
Where are you now?
Here.
Oh, right in front of you.
I'd like to go back to the thing we were doing in the beginning, stating needs to our partners.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what you say, but I get very confused if you break in, like right in the middle. So could I say the whole thing and then get a reaction from you? Is that okay? Okay. I need. Let's hear it a little bit. I have a need for respect as an equal, and I request that during shared activities we consensus on an agenda. I request that during shared activities we consensus on an agenda, and that when we need to change it, we agree on the change. But I request that during our shared activities we take the time to set a shared agenda, and when we need to change it, we agree on the change.
Now you ended on a wish, not a request. This is the kind of thing that leads to endless discussions. When we just wish, but we don't end on a request, whether it's on a one-to-one basis or with a group. Unproductive meetings occur when we don't end on a request. Or say finished, if that's all we wanted to say. Because see, as another person, I could think that's all you wanted, was just to say that. Because I didn't hear a request. I heard a wish.
I thought I said a request.
No, it's a wish. You said, I would like, if, when there's these decisions and so forth. That was a clear wish of what you liked. But it doesn't tell me, see, you're not living right now with me. It's like you're telling me what you wish. Yeah. I don't feel involved in the conversation.
Oh, because it's in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the reason I was doing that is because it was like right happening, coming down the pike.
So what do you want from me?
So
I'm the other
well
person. What do you want from me right now in relationship to that?
I'd like to know whether you heard. I'd like to know what you heard me say.
That you're not being treated equally.
Well, sometimes you treat me equally.
Don't hold it. I heard a criticism. You didn't make a criticism. You told me a need, but I heard a criticism. So now you're agreeing that you make a criticism sometimes. So you're getting lost now. See, you expressed a need, but I didn't hear the need. I heard the criticism.
well, usually I appreciate very much that you respect me. I guess that sounds like a criticism too.
Now here's what I wanted you to say. I'd like you to hear a difference between my saying, you're not treating me equally, and my need for equality doesn't get met.
Wow, I mean, it's like I can't even, I try to hear it, and it's like it won't go through my brain.
Yes, and most of us are that way, because it's a big paradigm shift to hear a difference between a criticism and a need.
Okay, I mean, I need for you to say that again, because
Okay.
I forget
I'm not saying that you are behaving in a disrespectful way or you're not respecting me. I'm saying my need for respect doesn't get met when that happens.
Well, I mean, it's like I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, but maybe I'm too much of a beginner.
Most people don't. If your brain has been programmed to hear criticism, it's a paradigm shift to hear the difference between criticism and need. So that's why it's so critical if we really want to live this way, that we be conscious of how many people are not going to be able to hear feelings and needs no matter how clearly you express them. And the more you ask people to tell you back what they've heard, the more you will continue to do it, because you'll see how rarely we get understood when we speak a language of the heart in a world in which people have been programmed to speak jackal.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going on, because he's totally, I mean, he's so well-intentioned, you know. And, you know, I can see it's cultural conditioning.
So now if I had giraffe ears, I would have said this back to you. I would have said, so your need for equality would be met better if I were to involve you in this decision.
Yes, yes, and involve me as an equal.
Pardon?
As an equal, and
so you have a need for equality.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the
Your
person
need for
can be
equality. Now, when you
involved,
say treated as an equal, that gets out of need language. And it leads me to think that if your need doesn't get met, you're going to interpret me as not treating you as an equal. And if I think you interpret me as not treating you as an equal, I have no joy in giving to you. I have no joy in meeting your need for equality. To whatever degree I hear anything that sounds like an interpretation, it takes away the joy of giving to you.
Well, the reason I said that is because somebody can be involved in the process, but not be treated as an equal.
No, you're getting now into an intellectual discussion of that. I want you just to know how to stay with your needs.
Okay.
My need for equality would be better met if you did this. That's a need and a request.
Okay. My need for equality would be better met if we participated 50-50 in setting the agenda, or if we consensed on setting the agenda, and
so that
would you
be willing to do that? Would you be willing?
Yeah, and as time goes by, we update the agenda when we need to. Would you be willing to do that?
Okay. So there's a major difference between I don't see myself being treated as an equal and my need for equality isn't being met. A radical difference. And there's very few people that can hear a difference when they're on the receiving end. So we got to lead them, we got to help them see that difference. Or else we can't really connect in a way that's going to promote compassionate people.
Yeah.
So first we got to be sure we know how to say it clearly, the difference. We need to see clearly the difference, not see the person as treating us unequal. We got to be really focused on our need that isn't met. Know how to say it, but then also be conscious that the other person may not be able to hear. So we got to check it out.
Are you waiting for a balance with the microphone?
And what's your request?
I'm requesting that maybe
Thank you.
I'm enjoying your clear request.
My request is that in order to provide that, meet that need, is for people to make visible and maybe recognize the person.
I would like not to be me recognized. I would like not to get involved in that. I don't see their hands as well as I think you do. So when we tried that the other day, I found out there were some people told me they had their hands up. I just didn't see it.
Well, I feel at a loss about how to.
Where is the speaker? Oh.
I feel at a loss about how to communicate with somebody who may who may not hear the difference between my saying my need for equality is not being met.
Well, let me go over then what I showed you, and then we'll get the microphone to others. What I said to you was, you got to ask people to tell you back what they heard. And then, if they didn't get it right, never say this, no. Never say, that isn't what I said. Never say, you're misunderstanding me. Never say that. Say this, thank you for telling me that's what you heard. I'd like you to hear a difference between, and then you give them the two things you'd like them to hear the difference between, so they can see the difference. Okay?
I'm bursting with curiosity.
Got to get a mic.
I'm bursting with curiosity because in a sensitive situation like body odor, I'm wondering how a person's emotion of embarrassment and then their defensiveness, how I can be sensitive to that.
I think you are sensitive about it. You're aware that some people could hear it as a criticism rather than a gift. You see, if they hear the truth, it'll be a gift. I mean, if I can contribute to a person's comfort by taking a bath, that's not a big thing to have to make somebody's life more wonderful. That's only not a gift if I distort it and hear a criticism. So, why would that not be a gift to tell somebody that you would enjoy the connection better if they took a bath? It would only not be a gift if they heard a criticism. Okay, so then we have to make sure they heard the gift rather than a criticism or a demand. Is that dealing with your issue?
You know, I'm wondering if somehow when you're bringing up a sensitive subject and it's clear that the person who has the issue is uncomfortable asking it, and so therefore it can come across as harsh.
Then this is very important. If you're scared about bringing it up, say that, because unexpressed fear will almost always be heard as aggression. Say, I want to say something to you now, and I'm scared to death of it in any way being heard as a criticism, because I'm not wanting to make a criticism. So, would you tell me quickly if you hear any criticism? So if the person knows that's what's the intensity behind that fear, then I think they're less likely to hear aggression in what I do.
Hello, Marshall. My name's Barbara. I would like to express to our 17-year-old son, who's in his senior year and uncertain about his future, and I know he knows I'm terribly worried about that, and I have a single-minded purpose about him creating plans. And I would like to practice with you a way to express to him my trust of his future choices when I am connected with him, when he's sharing what's going on with him.
Don't say it, Mom. I'm the son with giraffe ears.
Gabriel, I've been worried because of my need to connect with you. We've talked in the past about your future, and I really need reassurance that you know that I'd love to support you in any way I can, and I'm wondering if you would be willing to share with me how I could best support you as you go into the future.
Could you give me more clarity, Mom, about what are you wanting me to say? What are you worried about more specifically?
I'm worried that you don't feel our support for you.
So you want to know whether I feel any? Yes, I do have a fear, Mother, of bringing anything up. Because when I do, it doesn't look like you enjoy my pain. Like, as soon as you see me in any pain, like you've got to fix it. And then I feel, if I don't have my giraffe ears on, I feel that it causes pain for you, and then I feel in double pain than I had to begin with. Could you tell me back what you heard me say, Mom?
I'm hearing you say, Gabe, that when you want to express how you're feeling, that you hear or see pain, and that is not helping you express that.
And then you not only see pain, but then it looks like you were in a frenzy until you can figure out a way to fix things.
So I'm not meeting your need for respect about your choices because you see that I'm worried.
No, you're not meeting my need for you to enjoy my pain.
You would like me to enjoy your pain?
Yes. As that weird guy Marshall refers to empathy. That's how he describes empathic connection. I need empathic. I would like you to tattoo on your hand, Mother, empathic connection before advice. Empathic connection before fixing in any way.
So you are really needing empathy and understanding. And if you feel that empathy and understanding, there may be a way for us to jointly strategize.
Yes, thank you. And then I would like you, before you ever offer me any advice, I would like you to receive a request in writing from me, signed by a lawyer. That's what I want.
That seems a little dramatic, Gabriel. I'm wondering what your need is. What need of yours would be met by that request?
For you to check with me what I want after the empathy, before assuming that I want advice or to be fixed or so forth.
So once I feel that, once that empathy has been shared with you, you would like me to check to see that.
With what Marshall calls, I would like you to check then for my post-empathy request. Because after people get empathy, there's usually something else they want. And it's seldom advice.
So you'd like me to check in with you about what your needs might be after you received empathy and not to assume that it's advice.
Thank you. How do you feel when I tell you this?
I am grateful for you sharing this with me, and I'm still worried that I will fall back into old patterns that have made you feel unsupported in the past.
I could still deal with that even better, Mom, if before you jump in and give me the advice, you tell me your feelings and needs.
So you would like to know what my feelings and needs are before I give advice?
If you were to say something like this, when I hear you, I get real scared, and I just have a strong need to protect you in some way. You just told me that feeling and need, rather than acting on it, just to tell me that that's going on in you, and ask for me to tell you what I've heard you say, so that I can hear the connection. And then if you want to give me advice, get my permission for it. So say, there are some things, Gabriel, that I really am confident that if you do, it would make things easier for you. Would you be willing to hear them now? So if I saw the pain in you behind that advice, and then you got you checked out to see if that's what I wanted. After the empathy, keep in mind. After I get the empathy. Then if you have that need, then I could probably hear that.
So I would like to make sure that I've heard you correctly. Yeah. Can I repeat that? What I think I heard you say?
Yes.
I'm hearing you say that you would like to receive first empathy.
That's my first.
And understanding.
Yeah.
And then to check what you might be needing after you've received empathy.
Thank you. Yeah.
And then thirdly, ask you if you would like to strategize or if I can offer.
No, let me make that third thing a little clearer. I'm
Yes.
saying that if you're in too much pain, really, to give me the empathy, you're just bursting over with something that you feel that if I knew about it, it would make my life better. If you could at least say then, Gabriel, I'm so tense right now when I hear this. I have such a strong need for your well-being. And there's some thoughts that I have about what could help you. Would you be willing to hear it? So if you're not able to empathize with me, at least that you say that and get my permission before you give me the advice. How's that?
Yes, and I think I heard that more clearly, that if I'm not able to empathize, I share what's going on inside for me.
Yeah.
And then ask if you would be willing to hear some of my thoughts.
Sarah, your advice or whatever. Yeah, thank you, Mom, for hearing that.
Well, thank you for that clear process that we'll hopefully be able to stay connected. I appreciate that.
Marshall? I'm experiencing, I keep experiencing like an overwhelming sadness and grief, and I'm wondering if you would be willing to play the role of my partner.
Yes.
Okay. My strategies for creating meaningful connections within my family, with my partner and kids, with you and my kids, with you and the kids, has created the opposite of what I wanted. And I'm feeling overwhelming sadness and grief that I can't seem to let go of. I need meaningful connections with my kids and to be in a situation where I like myself in relation to the people that I'm with. Would you be willing to tell me how you feel about what I'm saying?
Well, I want to be sure first that I've done it, and then I'll tell you how I feel.
Okay.
There is deep sorrow and grief because a very strong need of yours for there to be harmony and understanding between the people you care for the most.
Well, connection, my connection.
Your connection.
Yeah.
Your connection, yes. And that at the moment that need is being met to your satisfaction.
That's right.
And you want to know how I feel about that?
Yes.
I'm feeling some relief if that's in there that we're talking about it this way. And of course I'm feeling sad because I have a strong need for that need of yours to be met. I'm eager to hear whatever you would like from me that would better meet that.
I would like help in connecting with my kids, and would you be willing to help me express my mourning to our daughter?
By help, you mean you want me to listen while you say what you'd like to say to her and then give you some feedback if I could suggest other ways of saying it?
Yes.
Okay, I'd be glad to do that.
Thank you.
I'm glad I'm checking out what you mean by help. Because if I hadn't gotten clear what you meant by that, I could very often have interpreted that a way that wasn't what you wanted, done it, and then when that wasn't it, you getting upset, and then my feeling aggravated because I thought I was meeting your need. And this has happened a couple times between us. I'm glad I'm learning to check out what you mean by it.
Marshall, if I continue this process with my partner, I guess I'm needing some hope that I can get past the sadness and grief.
Sounds like you're needing some empathy for just the depth of your sadness and your real fear about whether you'll ever really be able to connect with her in a way you like.
Yeah.
Extremely. More than anything in the world, you want to connect with her in a loving way. That's so painful when you're not doing it. So how about if we practice how to deal with her? I'll be her with giraffe ears. Would that help?
Okay. Try.
So I'm the daughter with giraffe ears. Mom, I'm hearing just how deeply painful it is for you that we're not having the quality of connection that would meet both of our needs for closeness, safety.
Yes, and I get really scared that my statements or responses will be interpreted in a negative way or in a blaming, fixing.
So you feel caught in this dilemma. You want to be able, the connection you want us to have would require us to be honest with each other about what's going on.
Yes.
And you're feeling discouraged about whether you can do that and have it act and get understood.
Yes.
You're afraid it'll end up just the opposite.
Yes.
Instead of bringing us together, it will do what's happened at times in the past. It's separated us more.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm so sad that in the past I didn't have these giraffe ears on. Instead of seeing just how deep it is in you, how much you want a loving connection. Instead of seeing that, I read in criticism. So I feel very sad. I would have liked to have given you the empathy that you were needing, seeing the beauty in what you were saying.
I really want to know how I can talk with you and share.
Okay, let me show you how you can talk with me and share. You be me now when I'm at my worst. And I'll be you with giraffe. And I'll show you what I would like you to do. You got it? So you be me now. What do you say?
I don't say anything.
Are you feeling irritated with me and not comfortable telling me what's going on for you right now?
Yeah, Mom, I don't know what you want from me.
So that's irritating for you when you have a need for clarity, especially about what's wanted of you and you're not clear what it is.
Yeah. That's right. And,
what I want from you is just what's happening right now. Just to know what's going on in you. That's my need. How do you feel when I tell you that?
Relieved. I thought I was supposed to say a certain thing and I didn't know what to say or
and I'm so sad that I can see I have some guesses as to how I contributed to that. I conceded in the past by my not knowing how to express my pain as I would have liked to have. And it could easily be heard if you weren't doing the right thing. I'm so sad that I didn't know how to say that differently.
yeah, I thought I was doing the wrong thing and that you were judging me.
Yeah. How do you feel when I tell you how sad I am that I didn't know how to express my feelings differently?
Are you done?
No.
Okay.
Can you tell me again what it is you'd like from me?
Just to know how you feel right now when I tell you about this depth of sadness that I would have liked to have expressed myself differently.
Well, I still feel a little confused about how to respond to what you need.
Just what you're doing. Just telling me how you feel. I appreciate how you've been hearing what I feel. This is what I want from you, just this.
That's all?
It's a lot. I feel connected with you now the way I've wanted to from you. It's a big thing for me to hear what's ever alive in you. It's a big gift. It meets a strong need of mine for closeness, for connection. As I say, I'm sad I didn't know how to ask for this differently in the past. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah.